Good evening and welcome to the October 10th, 2023 meeting of the Abington School Board of Directors. I note the attendance of all board members with the exception of Dr. Mowry and Dr. Kleiman, who are excused. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. The Abington Board of School Directors has convened this evening's meeting at the Administration Building, and the public is welcome. In consideration of the health and safety of the school community, this meeting is also being broadcast live on the Abington School District YouTube channel. This meeting is also being recorded and will be accessible on the district's website and cable channel no later than Friday, October 13th, 2023, to allow those members of the public who cannot participate to view the proceeding at a later time. Comments from citizens will be conducted in person and by phone. Information regarding participating remotely in public comment will be displayed on the screen at the time of public comment, and the board thanks the public in advance for its cooperation. The board met in an information session preceding this evening's meeting to discuss litigation. This is a place where we hold dignity in high regard. Your voices are welcome in this space. Dr. Fetcher, do we have any beginning announcements for today?
Yes, Ms. Brown. I have a few announcements that I'd like to begin the meeting with. Thank you. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the conflict unfolded in Israel and the Gaza Strip. With graphic images being broadcast on television and shared on social media, the emotional impact can be felt at home by all, especially our young people and those with connections to the region. We are deeply committed to providing a safe space for all members of our community to be supported during this difficult time. Please reach out to your student's school counselor if they are struggling to process what they are seeing and hearing on the news and on social media or in need of support. We wish for a peaceful resolution to this conflict soon. In the meantime, our thoughts and hearts are with the Israeli and Palestinian people, particularly those near and far who have been impacted by the unrest. I wanted to take a moment to provide some updates on Abington Senior High School since our last meeting. At our last meeting, I asked Mr. Barrios and his team to re-examine procedures for lunch. We made a decision to pause our move to lunch and learn program that was initially planned for the first week in October until the administration had the opportunity to examine the program and receive additional feedback from staff and students. We would be irresponsible if we did not examine some possibilities for alternatives due to the safety concerns that arose during the major melee and multiple violent incidents in the first weeks of school. I asked Mr. Barrios and his team to provide information this evening as an update, and I'm going to ask them to do so at this point. Mr. Barrios.
Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Ms. Brown, and members of the Board of School Directors. I'm joined here by Mr. Palmer, Assistant Principal to my immediate right, and Mr. Johnson, Assistant Principal at Abington Senior High School. So, as Dr. Fetcher said, we were originally supposed to roll out Lunch and Learn the first week of October. As you know, we had a major incident or incidents at Abington Senior High School on September 14th, and the wise and prudent thing to do would be to pause, hit a reset, and re-examine our program and protocols. So Lunch and Learn wasn't an idea that was launched this year. It was part of our reconfiguration plan last year, where we had a superintendent's committee that was roughly in process for approximately 4 years. We looked at other schools. We sent school teams out to Central Bucks High School South, Cherry Hill High East. We were supposed to visit the Souderton area high school, but that trip was canceled. Last year was our first year of our grade reconfiguration. And at the behest of the superintendent, we reopened our secondary reconfiguration committee to take a look at 3 strands. More specifically, to examine how our block schedule was operating and how we were implementing it. We also took a look at lunch and learn under last year's model, and we also examined climate and culture. More recently, in light of the recent events that I referenced on September 14th and a few other dates, we sent out a questionnaire to our teachers where we asked and saw feedback. And what did that look like? We had a few different scenarios. Would teachers like the status quo? Do you want to maybe move to a full hour lunch and learn, which was what we originally intended to implement, and along with a couple of other scenarios. 89% of the 149 respondents were in favor of a full hour lunch and learn. The assistant principals visited various advisory rooms. They also met with their class councils and also student council leadership to gauge the students' perspective. So, predicated on the feedback that we received, one of the things that we implemented this year was to have a daily advisory, but that advisory will occur after first or second period. Now, if you recall, we're on an alternating A-B block schedule, so there will be an advisory every single day. We also took a look at increasing the number of learns. Learns is another way of, semantically speaking, activities for students, so they can go to a Key Club meeting or go to the gymnasium to engage in different activities there. And we also wanted to provide flexibility in student learn attendance. Another thing that came out of last year was that we heard from seniors was the possibility of having a senior release. So that would be where seniors who are in good standing could leave campus for a full hour. So the goal here and the driver was to ensure that students have more of a college-like feel, give the students more flexibility and freedom. We also wanted to provide additional spaces for students to eat. So places like the LGIs, which stands for Large Group Instructional Spaces, our think tanks, plural, and other spaces throughout the building. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Johnson to review some of the particulars about the schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Barrios, and good evening, Board of School Directors and those in the audience. What you see on the screen right now is our daily schedule. As Mr. Barrios referenced, we run on an A and B day for school. Periods 1, 3, 5, and 7, as you see on the screen, for A days, and periods 2, 4, 6, and 8. One of the changes that was born out of reopening the reconfigured grade spans meetings with teachers involved the daily advisory. And I'll go into that in depth momentarily, but essentially what that has allowed us to do is engage students every day in activities, in daily announcements, and things that are really essential for students to know and to understand about each day that they're in the school. I'd like to direct your attention as well to the pattern of Learn 1 and Learn 2. That block of time is specific to our lunch periods. So Learn 1 should be geared towards specific grades, and then Learn 2 towards the other grades. So for example, Learn 1 we may tailor to grades 9 and 11, and Learn 2 grades 10 through 12. And what that will help us do is prevent or to accentuate traffic flow and to diminish opportunities for large groups of students to gather together in unproductive ways. More specifically, this is what advisory will look like. Again, daily announcements, assistance, and what that looks like is teachers having the ability to help students throughout the week make up tests, support instruction, enrich instruction, and provide them with whatever needs that they show with. The final thing is from an administrative perspective, we'll also be able to run grade level town meetings. Now you might think, well, it's only 10 minutes, but one of the things that we can do is create a schedule where when the opportunity arises, we can have an extended advisory period to run what we call town hall meetings what you may commonly refer to as grade level meetings. Again, with the purpose of introducing material, reinforcing some of the structure of the school day, reinforcing for students the need to excel and focus on their academic programs. Additionally, it gives our clubs and activities a time to meet. It's structured time where teachers, it does not replace after-school activities, but it gives teachers and club sponsors another opportunity for us to meet with them. The learn periods, the primary focus of the learn periods is to provide students with that extra boost or additional academic support, where they focus on student achievement, student learning, and really having an opportunity to get to know students. Teachers throughout different disciplines will have an opportunity to help students in whatever area is necessary. The other piece of this is students will be able to sign up for quiet study areas. There are students who are performing well and may not have a need to meet with specific teachers. For those students, we will have spaces assigned for quiet study and independent study. Another component, as I referenced before, provides enrichment opportunities for students and, again, club and activity sponsors to really get to know their students. And these activities, while they may not be daily or even weekly, it gives our clubs and activity sponsors a real, genuine, and authentic opportunity to meet with kids and to see that they have appropriate information for them to, again, excel during the school day. I'll now ask Mr. Palmer to come up and present the next component of the presentation. Thank you.
So one of the most challenging aspects of Lunch and Learn that we looked at last year as we went through this was really managing students and teachers throughout the building. Over the course of the summer, the feedback we got from our faculty and from our students was that our management software was not working. So our team met with Mr. Sneed, who helped us to look at a few different programs over the summer, including things like eHall Pass, Minga. One that we looked at that we felt really had all the features that we were looking for was called 5-Star Students. This software allows us to do scheduling for teachers to create activities, for them to create interventions, to be able to take attendance and monitor student participation in those activities. It also allows us to monitor student attendance at other events. It also has a feature of digital hall passes, so that through the app and through the website, students and teachers are able to create hall passes, teachers can look at where students are in various parts of the building, and it kind of keeps a log and allows us to monitor where people are. We can even, set permissions. Certain kids couldn't be out on the same hall pass at the same time in the building. You can limit the number of students at a particular time that have a hall pass to a particular area of the building. And again, a challenge is looking at locations within the building for our Lunch and Learn program. We know that our building fits all of our students. So we have more than enough space, but making sure that they are not crowded into a particular area for lunch is really the challenge for us. So what we're looking at doing, and again, this is from the feedback from the teachers and the students, is looking at additional places throughout the building where students can learn, they can eat, they can socialize, and that they can get help from their teachers. So in terms of monitoring our students within the building, the plan we have laid out is to strategically assign our faculty to learns throughout the building. That is, various departments and grade levels will be assigned at particular times. So as Mr. Barrios had indicated, we may have our 9th and 11th grade meeting at one half. Meanwhile, our 10th grade, 12th graders might have learns during the second half. Additionally, increasing faculty presence in our large group areas, including the LGIs, the think tank, the libraries, to have students be able to go to those larger areas and not to congregate in our cafeterias. And additionally, with our security and hall aides, we're working with them to monitor the cafeterias, the hallways, and particularly the bathrooms to ensure that we don't have students lingering in those areas. So what we will be doing, as Mr. Barrios had said, was to really focus on a rollout to our students through our town hall meetings. So we're planning on addressing how students are to behave, what our expectations are for them during the lunch periods, our expectations for them in engaging in learns, the behaviors. And as the 12th grade assistant principal, one of the things that I got repeatedly from my students was, we really, really want to have a senior privilege. It's something that they've pushed for, and we think that this will allow at least a little bit of wiggle room with the number of students who are in the building during that hour of lunch and learn. So a senior privilege would be eligible or only invited to eligible students, seniors, who meet our requirements, who've completed a permission slip from their parents, who maintain good standing, that is with discipline, grades, attendance, and who are signing out through our 5-star system so that we can monitor what students are in the building and what students are out of the building. So we are certainly going to do our very best to ensure that this goes smoothly, that this rollout, I know that there will be some bumps as we engage to try and get our students located and we achieve a new normal, a new equilibrium. But I think we'll be well prepared as we move forward to the 18th of October.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. So our objective is to roll this out on October 18th through November 2nd on a trial basis. So prior to rolling it out, we plan to have town hall meetings, communicate this plan to the parent and guardian community, and each day provide feedback to the students and take a look at this trial. If this trial doesn't work, we're going to have to go back to scheduled lunch periods. So we know our students don't want that right now. Our faculty hasn't recommended that, so we're making a data-informed decision right now. And it may not work. We are going into this with boundless optimism to give our students the benefit of the doubt and not allow a few blips in the radar along the way to prevent the entire student body to engage something that we think has value for our students. So the ultimate driver here is to provide a break, the midpoint of the day, where students are in block schedules, where they get time to meet with their clubs, their activities, and maybe study for an exam and just have a full hour and then start the second half of their day. So we think we have a sound plan here, and we want to roll this out with fidelity. Will there be growing pains? Absolutely. And you have our commitment. We will make every effort to make adjustments like we always do on the fly. There could be something when this comes alive that we did not anticipate. A lot of attention we're receiving right now is the hallway traffic. When I started teaching here 20 plus years ago, hallway traffic was an issue then. But now it's more amplified with photographs, sending home, social media, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to do our best to try to have the students use different access points, try to get to the cafeteria. There are multiple ways to egress and ingress. So if we can provide different alternatives as far as foot traffic goes, and we're going to continue to work with our facilities department and with Chartwells to make sure that if we're overcapacitated in certain cafeterias or certain spaces of the building, to make that adjustment. And to do that by communicating in a fluid manner with our student body. So again, the objective here is to implement this October 18th through November 2nd on a trial basis, and I'll be committed to working closely with Dr. Fetcher and to make recommendations as we go through. So, thank you.
So-
Questions from the board? I have one more thing, and then we can, I just wanted to make another announcement, and it pertains to the high school as well. Tonight, under the personnel section of our meeting, I am recommending an interim principal for the time when Mr. Barrios departs us for his new endeavors until the time when we hire a replacement that can actually start within our district. As I have announced, we are currently working with the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, and we are in the process of interviewing candidates. We've gone through a search, and we are beginning the interview process. Sometimes candidates have to, if there is a successful candidate outside of the district, that candidate usually has to give a minimum of 60 days' notice to their current employer. So we felt that it was essential that we have an interim person as a point person within the district. I have full confidence in our assistant principals to manage the building, but I also felt that it was important that in that transitional period that there be someone for our students, parents, and for our assistant principals to work with as well. And I'll speak more about that person during personnel. But with that, that's all the announcements I have tonight. So if we want to move to questions.
Thank you. We can definitely take advantage of the time for questions from my fellow board members.
So when this all rolls out, what's the process, the mechanisms for students if they see areas that still need improvement or areas that are problems, or just to give feedback? How can they best do that, seeing that they're the ones who are going to be navigating the process?
Students can certainly email their assistant principal. They can talk to their counselor. They can, through the student advisory councils that we have for each grade level, communicate their concerns. And I also think when the assistant principals are making that daily announcement in the afternoon, we'll definitely facilitate, a mechanism through which we can elicit feedback. I'm not opposed to maybe issuing a survey to the students as well.
I had a question about the five-star students digital pass. Is that also going to be implemented at the same time of this trial period?
Yes, I'm going to let Mr. Palmer, as he's our five-star expert.
Can you speak to the training that the faculty and students have had on this prior?
So we have begun the process of using it already. So we did a rollout with the faculty. We did trainings with them, PD on how to use it. We did trainings with the students during their advisory room. Now, obviously, it hasn't been completely set up because we aren't running our learns right now. But the hall pass feature we've gotten down, so students can begin using that right now. In fact, they are using it. So it's interesting. You can pull it up and see all the active passes where everybody should be at any given time in the hallway. So.
And just, I'm curious, how exactly does it work if you have a smartphone? I would assume it's some sort of app, but if you don't, then what's the mechanism?
So that was one of the big critical things of looking at this. We needed something that would work both on the Chromebooks or on someone's phone, so it can go through both. Mr. Sneed recommended us not using it. He tried it out using it on the app on the Chromebooks. It will work on a student's Chromebook, so there's no reason that they have to download it, but it does make it a little bit faster and easier. And the faculty can have it on theirs as well. So I will say it's kind of great in that, so for example, the senior sign out, if we were going to do senior privilege, there's a QR code, the kids can go to it, sign out, but the students actually have to be geolocated in that area in order to do the scan. Otherwise, it won't work for them to do it. So it has a lot of smart features to it that the other ones didn't have.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I do have some. For the lunchtime, is it expected for each student to determine where they will be during that time for that hour block so that you have that record? So every student during that hour block will use the digital hall pass?
Yeah, so we won't be using the hall pass part during the hour because that's really during traditional class time. The other feature is called interventions, and during the intervention feature, that's where the kids will be signing up. Our thought was that we do not make it a requirement that every student has to be somewhere at a particular time. But we want a record of which kids are signing up for activities so that we can really look and see a record of, did a particular student, were they going to see their English teacher last week, or were they, in the gym playing, pillow polo for the whole time. So those are things we'll be able to look at.
The next question under student supervision and safety, is there an increase in staff or just reorganizing where staff will be during that time?
I would say a reorganization of staff during that time.
And I just wanted to say thank you for the intentionality of seeking advice from the teachers, from the students, creating space for town hall meetings for community members to give input, and then making it a trial, not saying we're sticking to this no matter what. I think that's, it was very prudent to come up with this plan, so thank you for being forward-thinking.
Welcome.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, about the advisory, I know in times past, it would be called guidance periods, and it was an opportunity to implement like certain curriculum related to social skills and things of that nature. So I was wondering, is there any way to integrate pro-social behaviors during that time?
Absolutely, and to your point, when we began the school year, we ran several lessons through advisory. So for example, our Safe to Say training was all done through advisory. Some of our anti-bullying lessons we conducted through advisory. So, and counselor visitation as well. So we definitely will, it's a very versatile time period in our day. And then also, when we think of the continuity of announcements, the students love hearing, the daily announcements where they can stand up, pledge allegiance, get some structure in their day, hear things that are happening. That was one of the complaints we received last year when we had advisory on Mondays and Fridays, the lack of continuity with respect to announcements. So students felt a little disconnected at times. But we will definitely use that time. And also, as Mr. Palmer pointed out earlier, Mr. Johnson, excuse me, I'm getting old and forgetful at times. We can use this time to maybe have town hall meetings so students aren't missing one certain period of instruction. So we maybe shave off a few minutes of time off of a few, 4 classes, and have an extended advisory so we can have a town hall meeting.
Thank you. And the last question is, during the lunch and learn, will somehow their new schedule or to determine or to depict wherever they're going to be during their lunch and learn, will it be embedded in their current roster, or will they receive another schedule to reflect their whereabouts?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it will not be added to their current schedule, but one of the things that students have to do is they have to sign up for particular learns. So when you sign up for a learn, it populates for the teacher, and then there's a feature we can actually view it and essentially take data on the most commonly used, for lack of a better term, learns, and then decide on learns that are a little bit more popular and relatable for kids. We can structure the learns in a way where our students are really selecting based off of not just their interests, but what seems to be the most reasonable and accessible for kids. And to your other question about how can we incorporate social emotional learning during advisory periods, when I presented, I talked a little bit about having extended advisory periods, because when we launch Lunch and Learn, advisory will then only be a 10-minute block each day. So there will be opportunities where we can extend that advisory period to do lessons that are outside of the norm, such as daily announcements, and to really extend just beyond town meetings as well. So, you're welcome.
I think I misunderstood what town hall meetings are and who the audience is. Can you provide clarification, please?
Town hall meetings are grade level specific meetings, so Mr. Palmer being the 12th grade assistant principal, he would hold a town meeting for his grade and facilitate it. For me, I'm the 11th grade, I'm responsible for that class. I would hold a town hall meeting for those roughly 700 students and address those in a 45-minute, 60-minute presentation on specific topics.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions or comments from the board? Dr. Fetcher?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we will continue to communicate to our families and the students as we go through this process and evaluate the process. And I just want to say that I heard from a large number of students and parents as well. And I appreciate your patience as we took a pause on this process and really took a look at it from a standpoint when we have things that go awry. It is essential for us to just take a moment, look at it, re-examine, and look at new angles. So I know that specifically I'll address our seniors who are looking forward to senior privilege. I understand you're excited, and I appreciate your patience and the delay that we've had for this. So, ultimately, we hope that, this goes well, and students, as a community of learners, I think that it is important that you set the example for all students and make this work so that it is something that is successful. And I know that there are many students who are in this building that can make this happen and make it happen well, and it be a very good experience and good learning experience and learning environment. I say to our seniors that next year many of you will go to college campuses, and you will have the opportunity for more than 1 hour of learn and an hour of senior privilege. And this is a great opportunity to learn how to spend that time, how to engage yourself, and also how to grow as a learner during downtimes, especially during college. So it happens overnight, and I like to remind everyone of that. Sometimes we forget that 1 year, and at the end of the year, our seniors a couple months later are on college campuses with a lot of freedom. And so this is a good way to learn how to ground yourself and make sure that you are prepared for that freshman year of college, which often can become difficult for new college students. So I welcome you to use this opportunity. But ultimately, I think I have full confidence in our students and in our staff to make this work, and I just hope that it does, because it really will have a lot of benefits for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional agenda items to be brought about from my fellow board members this evening? Okay. We will officially open up with comments from my fellow board members. Mr. Allen?
Yes, thanks to the student performers, the marching band, that was remarkable out there this evening on the steps. Just really, it got chills all over, hearing the music and seeing the color guard, and it's really phenomenal.
Excellent. Ms. Frazier?
Just to piggyback off of that, my daughter was a captain of color guard for 3 years, and watching tonight, it just brought back just warm fuzzies. And of course, my son played football, so, and I know some of my fellow board members, they have kids that are playing football or in the band, and it's a very exciting time. Although my daughter is in school, she's in a doctorate program, and she finishes in July, but nonetheless, I say that because some of her happiest times was during color guard.
Thank you. Mr. Kay?
Just that thoroughly enjoyed it. I love any time music rearranges my organs, because I can feel it so much. It traveled across the road, up the steps, and kind of made us all move, and it was phenomenal. If you ever get the chance to witness something like that, just be 25 feet away from the Abington Marching Band, go for it.
Roar, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Glasser.
Yep, just echoing what my other board members have said, it was such a lovely performance and very fun to watch you all enjoy yourselves. And on a personal note, I'm teaching myself to play drums, and I can tell you it's really tough, so I'm so impressed with how talented you all are because it was very fun to watch.
Thank you. Mr. Muhammad?
Just want to echo what everyone's been saying. My daughter plays bass clarinet and is learning saxophone. And I sent her the video, and she's like, oh, it's giving me in 2 years. And so she's looking forward to donning those fantastic uniforms and joining in the tradition that you all carry so proudly. So great work this evening.
Ms. Fazy?
Also want to say thank you to all of our performers. It was just an amazing performance, and it was so neat to be there right in front of you guys up close. And I also have a daughter who's in 7th grade band, and I sent her a little video, and the only thing that she wrote back was "dang." So thank you so much.
Excellent. Dr. Fetcher?
I would just like to echo the sentiments. I do want to say that having the national anthem right before a board meeting made me excited to charge into the board meeting. Probably the first time I was excited to charge into a board meeting. So thank you for that. It's not something that I was trying to chest bump our solicitor, but he would not do that right before coming in here. So thank you. Awesome talent. I wish I had a quarter of the talent that you have with playing the instruments, but just amazing. And I've experienced your talents for many years here at Abington, and I'm glad to see the tradition carrying on and in all different new ways as well. So thank you for that.
Excellent. I truly enjoyed it. It's a great way to start my evening. Thank you for sharing your gift with us. I, too, have a son who plays the trombone, and he is very excited about joining you guys. He's at the middle school. So thank you for all that you do, and happy 100th anniversary to our marching band. With that being said, Dr. Fetcher, can we proceed with this evening's honors?
First, we have our student council representative.
We cannot forget our student council representatives.
From Abington Senior High School, Jonah Campbell.
Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Mrs. Brown, and members of the Board of School Directors. My name is Jonah Campbell, and I'm the president of the Student Council Executive Board. I'm upset to announce that our beloved principal, Mr. Barrios, will be departing us starting October 27th. I would like to wish him the best on his future endeavors. I'm excited to announce that our 2023-24 academic year began with a smooth start, and we are now in full swing. This Wednesday, the high school is having a Lead with Love Day, where we all wear pink to honor a beloved Abington teacher, Mr. Hampshire, who unfortunately passed away 1 year ago as of this week. As for Abington's golf team, junior Max Hayes and senior Jacob Reebstein made it to the district championship. Good luck to them. Our football team has 2 more home games this season, one being this Friday the 13th, and the other one being our annual pink out game on the 20th. Best of luck to them. Our girls soccer team is 10-2-1, with their next home game being against Upper Dublin on Thursday the 12th at 7 p.m. Good luck to them. Our boys soccer team is 13-1, with their next game being the big pink out game tonight at 7 p.m. Good luck to them as well. Our annual homecoming formal dance will be held on October 21st at 7 p.m. This past week, we held a club and activities fair where we had dozens of Abington's own clubs set up informationals regarding their clubs. Hundreds of students came out to learn and join different clubs. We also successfully hosted a back-to-school night where parents could come and learn about their kids' schedules, meet their teachers, and even see the building for themselves. 9th and 11th grade health classes welcomed representatives from the Montgomery County Suicide Prevention Task Force who educated our students on suicide awareness. Our annual trunk or treat will be held on Friday the 13th from 5 to 7 in the senior high parking lot just before our football game at 7. And the PSAT will be held on October 17th for 10th and 11th graders. And as for our seniors, they have Give Back Day, which is a chance to do community service and give back to the community. Respectfully submitted, Jonah Campbell.
Thank you, Jonah. A lot going on, and you hear the message to get involved for our students. If If you haven't found an activity yet, there are probably, Mr. Barrios can confirm this, between 75 and 100 activities to get involved in the school. It's increased in the last time since I've been there. So, at this time, I'd like Thomas Miller from Abington Middle School to come forward.
Good evening, Ms. Brown, Dr. Fetcher, and members of the Board of School Directors. I'm Thomas Miller, and I'm on the Executive Board of the Student Council for Abington Middle School. Student Council is very excited to start to get organized for this year. We have started our preliminary plans for a school-wide food drive and started laying out a calendar of events we are looking forward to tackling. On September 5th, the first day of school, the class of 2030 was welcomed by over 80 current 8th grade web leaders. The 8th grade web leaders led the 6th graders in a variety of getting to know you and team building activities to help 6th graders meet new people and develop positive relationships with one another. The web leaders also provided the 6th graders with information, advice for middle school success, and gave the 6th graders school tours. Character Cafe is a book club at the Abington Middle School. We meet once a month after school in the library to discuss all of our favorite books. We create a safe space for students to talk, ask questions, interact, and discuss books relating to various topics and issues. The AMS Musical is excited to announce that we'll be producing our first ever fall play. Over 70 students attended auditions. We were incredibly impressed by their enthusiasm, preparation, and support for one another. We have also accepted close to 50 students to be a part of our tech cruise, and we will begin their training workshops on Saturday, October 7th. Current 7th and 8th graders students who have excelled in areas of scholarships, citizenships, character, leadership, and service within their school community were recently invited to apply for the 2023-2024 cohort of the National Junior Honor Society. The students who are selected for NJHS will be invited to the induction ceremony on Thursday, October 26th. In Trauma Sports, we'll be hosting 75 students this fall for ultimate frisbee, flag football, and short-sided soccer. We are excited to provide the students with the ability to play in a semi-structured format so they can learn the lessons of leadership and compromise in a safe environment. Last year, ASL finished strong with 20-plus members. We are looking forward to another great year. Students will learn American Sign Language, ASL, which is the third most used language in the United States. They will also learn about deaf culture, meet with people who are deaf or hard of hearing, and watch videos created by deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Our 6th and 7th graders attended an anti-bullying assembly at the high school in September. All of our students also signed the character pledge. Finally, we have also completed 3 anti-bullying lessons that were presented to all students. As I conclude our first report of the year, the Student Council members and AMS students are looking forward to an excellent 2023-2024 school year.
Thank you, Thomas. A lot going on as well, and Thomas, I appreciate that you have a cheering section in the back of the room, so very good.
Excellent. Thank you for your voices. Dr. Fetcher, please proceed with this evening's honors.
Okay. I want to ask Ms. Ali Artur, Communications Coordinator, to share 2 videos highlighting recent media coverage of Abington School District.
Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Mrs. Brown, and members of the board. Tonight, I'm pleased to share 2 brief news clips with you. One is coverage of the return of High Five Friday at schools across Abington School District, with this video specifically showcasing visits from our Abington Township police officers to Overlook Elementary School. The other broadcast story is of Katie Catro, an Abington Senior High School alumna who is always kind in giving back to her alma mater by making time to speak with our students about her career path to becoming an on-air reporter. She recently shared her advice with students enrolled in our media literacy classes. Please enjoy the clip.
A popular weekly tradition has returned to Abington schools this year. The action cam was over at Overlook Elementary for High Five Friday. Members of the Abington Township Police Department were there to greet students with, of course, high fives. It happens each and every Friday at schools and bus stops throughout the district, and this is the first school year for the beloved tradition since the start of the pandemic. Love to see that.
Action News reporter Katie Catro went back to school today. She spoke to high school students at Abington High School, where she once attended.
Katie talked with teenagers who are interested in journalism, and she told them about her path in the business and how her early media lessons in high school helped her get to where she is today.
Great.
To our next honor.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. As you heard, this evening we were greeted by the marching band here and played for us this evening. Well, this school year is the 100th anniversary of the origination of Abington bands. And I'm going to ask Mr. Barrios and Mr. Dotato to provide a presentation to celebrate the centennial of our Abington Senior High School marching band.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Fetcher, Ms. Brown, and members of our Board of School Directors. We are pleased to be sharing a special milestone recognition with you tonight on one of our most engaging student groups here in the district. This school year marks the 100th anniversary of the formation of the band program in the Abington School District. We are very proud of the growth and excellence of our band program that they continue to demonstrate. Our band program continues to grow and engage a diverse group of students, providing them with valuable opportunities, experiences, skills, and memories that enrich their lives over the course of their lifetime. Our Abington Senior High School Marching Ghosts continue the legacy of community engagement and artistic excellence as they provide field show performances and stand music at football games, in addition to competing in marching arts competitions across the region. I'm happy to introduce Mr. Joe Dotato, Director of Bands at Abington Senior High School, to highlight some important points about this significant milestone and to introduce our Abington Senior High School Marching Ghost student leadership team. Mr. Dotato.
Thank you, Mr. Barrios. According to the 1923 to 24 yearbook, the first Abington band formed as a result of a group of enthusiastic students partnering with a teacher named Mr. Kreider. The band initially formed to provide music for the football games and enhance the cheers. The actual yearbook caption reads, "Their playing of the school songs helped materially to make the cheers sound real." The goal of the first band was to grow in size and in quality to match the school orchestra, which pre-existed them. Here we see a photo of the original band members, 1923. We call them the founders. Today, we are proud to say that the essence and enthusiasm of that student-initiated group is still alive and well in our program. Students in the Abington Senior High School Marching Ghosts today receive valuable leadership training and opportunities to develop collaboration skills in a team-based environment. This connectedness helps them grow and achieve artistically in the marching arts as well as other creative endeavors. The students are engaged year-round through workshops, practice sessions, band camp, regional marching arts competitions, and our Abington football games. Our program prioritizes student leadership with supportive staff coaching. They're in charge. This allows the ASHS Marching Ghosts to provide one of the senior high's largest and most active student organizations, while also helping us to engage a diverse student membership. In addition to the marching band, the program has grown to include several winter ensembles, the Abington Indoor Color Guard, and the Abington Indoor Percussion at the senior high, and the Abington Middle School Indoor Color Guard at AMS. Along with the Abington School District, we are grateful for the ardent support of our boosters organization, the Abington Band Boosters Incorporated. The parents' tireless effort complement and amplify our programming both now and as we grow into the future. And now we share with you some photos from this year, our 2023-24 season, from the stands and from the field.
At this time, I'd like our student leadership team to come forward to be recognized. That would be you guys in the uniforms. So I'm going to begin with our drum major for 2023, Kira Fitzgerald. And then we have two captains of the band, Annika Anderson and Caden Tedeschi. The captain of the band position is a training position. Both Caden and Annika will be drum majors in 2024. Natalie Higgins and Sophia Warner are captains of the color guard. Maddie Dannenfelser is our captain of percussion. And then we have a number of lieutenants who are acting as section leaders. Ben Browse for high brass, Dylan Callahan for high woodwinds, Arabella Davids for battery percussion, Corvus Gill for low brass, and Jordan Seward for saxophones. Additionally, we have a lot of stuff, if you noticed out there. Juliet Bartner is our quartermaster and takes care of all of that for us. And she's assisted in that by a young lady who is not with us tonight, Audrey Pachuta, who is our color guard logistics officer. Thank you all. You may be seated. And now Mr. Barrios will be rounding out our presentation this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dotato. We welcome you to join the Abington Senior High School Marching Ghosts at their home marching band competition on Sunday, October 28th. Saturday, October 28th. They will be hosting a pre-show marching band alumni barbecue, as well as a high school marching band competition. Our marching ghosts will close this exciting night of performances with an exhibition shows this year entitled The Raven, based on the poem by Edgar Allan Poe. It will be a great night for all in the community to enjoy. Additionally, our Abington Band Boosters are hosting a centennial brunch to commemorate the occasion and raise funds for the Abington Band program. As we conclude this celebratory centennial recognition, we again recognize the collaborative, sustaining support of the district, Abington Band Boosters Incorporated, and the community for our band programming and the broader support for the arts in the Abington School District. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? Okay. All right. A standard of excellence. Thank you so much. Dr. Fetcher, does that conclude our honors for this evening?
Yes, it does.
Excellent. We will move forward with agenda item number 4, which are comments from citizens.
Thank you once again
Thank
for coming.
you.
Thanks for coming out.
Comments from citizens are being conducted both in person and by phone. The phone number to participate in public comment is 267-715-3717 and is featured on the screen at this time. You will be able to join in by calling in on your mobile or landline phone. If you are present within the room, there are mics to the left and to the right of you. Please be sure to state your name and address.
Hi, Meredith Croy, 749 Arden Road in Jenkintown. I'm here, we have a 6th grader at the middle school. He's come home with lots of great reports about new classes and wonderful teachers, but also reports about lots of fighting. And I'm here to ask, I guess, where Abington is on this topic and what we can expect as far as how this gets better.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Rooney. Thank you, ma'am, for bringing that up. I'm just going to dovetail into that. My first question, or my first statement was, Dr. Fetcher, thank you very much for the update and for Mr. Barrios and his staff for at least following through on what happened with the presentation last weekend. But along with that presentation, these are some questions, and maybe you'll answer them, I hope. So you're adjusting the schedule. Is the administration telling us that something about the schedule caused all these fights that we are aware of? And I'm not aware of all the fights. So there's a question. And I was going to ask, have there been any more fights since of those 4 that we know about? So evidently there seems to have been some more also. Next question. How does the board, I'd love the board to answer this, not Dr. Fetcher. How does the board's discipline policy, which I have great questions about, interact with what we've found? I mean, here's some hard data points where we could say, oh, look how well this board policy works, because we've had a fight in a girls' bathroom, a fight in a boys' bathroom, a riot with 13 arrests, and we had another riot out with Abington students at 100 Old York Road, and then whatever else it is. I'd love to get some feedback on this great policy all developed, how it works. Do the school directors receive additional information about the specifics so they can see how that policy works? I know this is a lot of stuff. Then the next one, a little bit of specifics. So we watched a video of, I'm guessing, 20 girls sitting in a bathroom. There's a timestamp on the video. I think it was like 11:40, something like that, but don't quote me on it. So who was in charge of figuring out where everybody is during the middle of the school day? Somebody should know that there's 20 people missing from classrooms, from the listen and learn, whatever it is. And I'd love to know who that is and how that's been addressed. And then also, for the other principals that are here, is that happening in all the schools? Are 25 kids disappeared hanging out in hallways or in bathrooms in other schools that we don't have videos of? And how is that being addressed? Finally, if it wasn't for the student citizen journalists that took those videos and posted them online, we would know nothing. Parents would hear some rumors from their kids, but they'd be unsubstantiated. So for those kids who are doing that, if you see stuff going on in school, videotape it and put it online. It's the only way we actually get facts that we can come in and challenge our board and challenge our administration. Thank you.
If there are other speakers within the room, there are mics to the left and to the right of you. Please be sure to state your name and address. Mr. Sneed, we can go to the phones.
Our next citizen for public comment is phone number ending in 5253. Please state your full name and address.
My name is Eileen Denton, and I live at 1978 Moreland Road.
Thank you.
I'm calling to ask or to request if the school board members would follow up on the last school board meeting when parents and community members were directed to the Office of Safe Schools website as a way for community members and parents to kind of get a better idea of the outcomes when there are incidences of violence or bullying, that type of thing, since obviously student privacy prevents the administration from letting parents know what happened. But I would like to say that it's important to take a look at it because the numbers are incredibly skewed low. For example, for the junior high for the year 21-22, which was when my daughter attended, and I had to take her out of the school because of the bullying that she was receiving. That year, there was only one instance of bullying reported for the entire junior high to the Office of Safe Schools. Now, I know for a fact that my daughter was not the only child being bullied that year, based on conversations I had with other parents and what she experienced with other students. I'm concerned that there's no oversight or very little oversight to determine what is bullying and how it is reported to the Office of Safe Schools so that parents can have a clear picture of what's going on and that board members can also have a clear picture of what's going on in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sneed?
Our next citizen for public comment is phone number ending in 7331. Please state your full name and address.
Hi, this is Karen Jean Charles. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, hi. I'm on Osceola. I have a quick question. So I went to school night the other day, and it was great to go to back to school night, but I went with a different perspective of just kind of understanding what's happening in the hallways. And with just the parents there, it was a little crowded and chaotic, I'm just going to say, and I was lost. So so I can understand, like, the hustle that the kids are experiencing, and even moving through the hallways, it was kind of tough with just parents. What I was suggesting is maybe have, for back to school night, have a half a day of school. I'm just throwing it out there, half a day of school where parents can actually have a conversation with the teachers, because I felt like it was so rushed. You couldn't really meet with the teacher because even if you stay back to ask a couple questions, you were late for the next presentation, right? So maybe that's something that we can think about for next time. Also, I also wanted to, I noticed that with the bell schedule, that there's only 3 minutes between the lunch and learns and lunch, right? So if a kid is going to lunch, there's 3 minutes to transition for the learn. Is that 3 minutes enough time? I mean, to really clear the hallways and get the other kids coming? You know, I don't know. So that's one of the questions I wanted to ask. And also, the other question is, for the map that was shown and the alternative locations for eating, it was mentioned that the courtyards. Now, are those courtyards outdoors? Because if they are, what happens in inclement weather? Where are those kids going to go? So I don't know. I don't think I've ever experienced the courtyards. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember. But I wanted to ask those questions.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sneed, can you confirm there are no additional callers online?
That is confirmed.
Any other speakers within the room? Dr. Fetcher?
Okay, first, for our first speaker, I'm going to ask that Mr. File please contact the principal of the Abington Middle School, please contact you to discuss your concerns further, and also to discuss the types of programs and things that the middle school are doing to address the situation. So I'd ask that he reach out to you. Second, in regard to the schedule did not cause the fighting. However, as I mentioned earlier, when we do have any type of incident, we do a full review of that incident and look at things like, are there crowds in the hallway due to constraints of a schedule? And so that's why I asked the senior high school administration to take a look at the schedule. Also, we were prepared to move on in the first week of October to a different configuration of that schedule, and that was the plan. And I did put a pause on that in order to make sure that things were prepared, and also for things to calm down within the school because of the first week or two when all these incidents occurred. So that was my judgment based on just safe precautions for our students, and to make sure that we weren't missing anything, or if we could make the environment better in terms of the schedule. In terms of the comment, I respectfully disagree with the promotion of video and posting of videos of fights. And this is for the reason because I believe that it glorifies fighting and in many cases, and also promotes fighting. within our students. I disagree also that that's the only way people would have found out. Before videos were published online and in social media, there was a letter from the principal of the building that went to the parent and student community. Prior to, some of these videos being posted and reposted and posted again. So although I understand that it is a snippet into the horrible situation that occurred, I disagree with promoting those videos because I think that ultimately for some of our students that is a glorification of fighting within the school. In terms of the question about our Safe Schools report, that question did come to me. We do have a process in place where the building information is presented to the administration, and there are definitions for what qualifies for a Safe Schools report. However, I can definitely say that we did not by any means intentionally underrepresent any of the incidents to which were referred this evening on the call. And I do take that question very seriously, and we are in the process of looking at multiple incidents for the year that was referenced and the question that I received and doing a full analysis of that. If we do find that we were not within any means of reporting, I will ensure that there's any corrective action or corrections made and communicated to the state for any Safe Schools report. Also, by this, we're analyzing our process to ensure that our practice here and following the procedures that we have for record keeping of these different incidents is up to par, and if there is a change or anything that needs to be done within that, based on this analysis, we will implement that change as well. And I thank the last caller for the suggestions for back to school night, and the high school administration is here to listen to those and to take those in consideration for future back to school nights. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question about the 5-star system. Is that something that's planned to be used at the middle school level too, or just pilot at the high school for now?
I believe it's just pilot at the high school for now. Is that correct, Mr. File?
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. And as an educator, I just wanted to pause to second that I also disagree with the videoing. With cell phone use in our schools, we want to teach our students to use it in a productive way. And even tonight, we've heard of examples where administration creates spaces for students to be able to communicate with them. If you're at the high school, there are town halls where you can communicate. We have the Safe to Say Something where you can communicate. We have counselors that you can speak to communicate. There are ways of addressing your concerns. You have parents and guardians at home in which you can communicate. We want to make sure that we're responsible with the messages that we're giving to our young people, and recording fights is not one of those responsible things to do. Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. We can move forward with agenda item number 6, please. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation to approve the September meeting minutes?
Yes, Madam President, as a recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the minutes of the board meeting on September 12th, 2023, and the board meeting on September 26th, 2023.
Second.
We have a second. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the personnel addenda?
Yes, Madam President, as a recommended action that the Board of School Directors approves the changes in personnel as reflected in personnel addendum number 7.1 and confidential personnel addendum number 7.1A.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Personnel addendum begins with item number 1 and the appointment of one professional employee. Ms. Susan McCarthy is being recommended as the interim principal at Abington Senior High School for a period of time from Mr. Berrios' departure until the successful candidate is available to begin the position. Ms. McCarthy is a veteran administrator who recently retired from the role of principal of Council Rock High School North after 20 years as principal. She previously held roles as a junior high school principal, high school assistant principal of curriculum instruction, high school grade level assistant principal, guidance counselor, high school English department coordinator, and English teacher. Under item number 2 is the change of status for 22 professional employees who have submitted the necessary paperwork to change their salary class. Item number 3 is a request for a leave of absence for one professional employee. The personnel addendum continues with the hiring of substitutes, compensation for curriculum projects, IEP meetings, interpreter and translation services, kindergarten orientation, open houses, and support personnel items.
Thank you. Questions or comments from my fellow board members? Just a quick thank you. The open houses, I have many children, so I attend many open houses, and they were all great. I got a lot of feedback, especially from the high school, because of all of the program that all of the programming that we offer, and parents are well pleased, especially those who graduated from the high school. They are blown away by some of the courses that our students get to take part in. So thank you so much, team, for that. Mrs. Young?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Mr. Kay?
Aye.
Mrs. Glasser?
Aye.
Mr. Muhammad?
Aye.
Ms. Feasy?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation for permits for use of buildings and grounds?
Yes, Madam President, as a recommended action that the Board of School Directors approves the applications for permits for use of buildings and grounds as reflected in addendum number 8.8. All permits are subject to change per the provisions of the Health and Safety Plan pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, and that's number 8.1, second.
Dr. Fetcher, we have a second.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. The permit addendum reflects typical requests for buildings and grounds for meetings and other events and activities for this time of year. Bring your attention to item number, permit number 157, which is for the homecoming dance for Abington Senior High School class of 2024, which will be held on October 21st. Permit number 159, which is for the junior prom for Abington class of 2025, held on April 20th, 2024. Last, I bring your attention to field permit number 43A, which is for the Abington Senior High School Community Trunk or Treat, which will be held on Friday, October 13th, at the Abington Senior High School faculty parking lot.
A lot of things going on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Any questions or comments from the board? Mrs. Young?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Mr. Kay?
Aye.
Mrs. Glasser?
Aye.
Mr. Muhammad?
Aye.
Ms. Feasy?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation regarding ICS Consulting?
Yes, Madam President, as a recommended action that the Board of School Directors approves the recommended contract for the district to engage ICS Consulting, Inc. to assist with 1, engaging stakeholders in a fully transparent process to implement the communications plan developed under addendum number 1, approved on June 27th, 2023 as an extension of services to the original professional services agreement between ICS and Abington School District, originally dated November 8th, 2022. Number 2, gathering input from key stakeholders within the district and community using well-established best practices as directed by the administration. Number 3, utilizing all data gathered in the tasks above to develop options to address the facility needs identified in the facilities feasibility study. And 4, implementation by the school district of the option that is ultimately adopted by the school board.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. This recommendation is for professional services to address the facility needs that were identified in our feasibility study and facilities assessments through the development and implementation of that plan. That includes communication, information gathering with all Abington School District stakeholders through implementation by our district of the option that is ultimately adopted by the school board. I'm going to ask tonight that Mr. O'Donohue review the general terms of the contract, and also for the board this evening, Mr. Solomon is here this evening from ICS to answer any further questions that you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. This agreement covers, as has been represented, the efforts that ICS will undertake to manage and oversee the.
He's checking in on our sound. Thank you.
The community engagement process, and so that you can develop a solution that the board ultimately adopts, and then when that solution, when that plan is agreed to, this is a commitment to engage ICS for the implementation. That would be program management, architectural and engineering services, and construction management for those ultimate construction projects. The construction work would still be done through competitive procurement or some other means that are authorized by Pennsylvania law. That would not be ICS. This is strictly the professional services portion of those. And there would be additional agreements specifying the nature of those services when we get to that time.
What I'm hearing, is it just that mic, or is this something that I'll hear throughout the course of the meeting? They're fixing it? Okay. I appreciate your help. Thank you. All right. I know it may just be your mic. Any questions or comments from the board?
This is based on what we had the orientation about prior week, so which was pretty extensive, I think, and I think it sets a smart way of moving forward, and especially when it comes to transparency, which is very important. Obviously, it's crucial in this process, and also engaging the public. We need people who know how to do that best, so that people are heard. This is going to affect the entire community, so it's a great way of doing things. Well, that did it.
Thank you for your patience, for the people who are in the room and the people who are watching. It is important that you're able to hear. So thank you, Mr. Sneed, for pulling the plug.
Is it disabled?
We're pulling the plug.
We'll share. Sharing is caring. Please proceed.
That's it. I'm good.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
So this is engaged, just for the community at large, this is to engage the services of ICS based off of, like Mr. Kay said, the full meeting that was done a couple weeks ago. I forget the date, but it was a very clear and outlined process that ICS is going to use. And if you're interested in it, you can go back to what date, I don't know what date that was. Dr. Fetcher, do you know because I know that you guys did live stream it.
I don't have the date off the top of my head. I know we did a special meeting where ICS presented, and it was the end of August, and then August 29th. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm just connecting this vote to that public.
Thank you, Ms. Young.
That public meeting. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I think it's pretty well established that our middle school needs some work in terms of the facilities, and we are looking forward to engaging the community in gathering their thoughts, discussing those needs, and moving forward with some solutions based on stakeholder input.
Anyone else? ICS, as a company, I have been impressed with your level of professionalism, your knowledge, and your history with working with other districts. You have a great rate of success, and we're going to keep that going should the board vote yes. With that being said, Mrs. Young?
Aye.
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 Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation for awards of contracts?
Yes, Madam President, as the recommended action of the Board of School Directors approves the awards of contract as reflected in addendum number 10.1.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Tonight we have for your consideration one award of contract, and this is for one weapons screening detection system. This would be used for our large public events. Once again, it is portable so that we can move it to different venues as well.
Question or comments from the board?
See that it comes with the multi-year subscription as part of it?
Yes, this is a lease, a 4-year lease on the equipment, which includes updates, software updates, as well as ongoing hardware maintenance as well. The first year costs are slightly elevated to obtain the hardware and the setup and the training.
It's sad that we've come to this in our society, but that is the way it is, and I appreciate the hard work you're doing in trying to keep everyone safe.
Any additional questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, could you share the pros and cons around leasing versus buying?
Yes, I think ultimately because this is software-based and in need of updates, this actually, for the 4 years, in order to lease it, is less expensive. It gives us an opportunity to have it for a 4-year period to evaluate the effectiveness with our needs here in the district. However, the major thing that I think is essential about the lease is the ongoing service and update of that software, especially because that is the type of technology, and I can't go into specifics about it because I didn't invent the product, but it needs to be updated essentially. And anytime, if we were to own that, that could come with additional costs. So during the lease, we're covered for any updates that we need to have.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Mrs. Young?
Aye.
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 Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the MCIU agreement?
Yes, Madam President, as the recommended action that the Board of School Directors approves the district administration to enter into agreements with the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit for temporary technology workers and technology services for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
This item essentially is to have the opportunity to work with the MCIU for any temporary tech needs that we have for workers within and services within our district. We have a few openings within the district. We are in the process of trying to fill those. This enables us, while we are trying to fill positions, to have a backup plan to continue our technology and the services that we offer to our employees as well as our students.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Mrs. Young?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fraser?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
Aye.
Mrs. Glasser?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Casey?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. I'm going to apologize for a typo. For agenda item number 12, Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation regarding the youth, Glenside Youth Athletic Club, and it should be bequest instead of request.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam President. It is recommended action that the Board of School Directors approves the renovation of Field 1 alongside Parkdale Avenue at Glenside Weldon property. The renovation includes all softball infield work, excavating to a depth of 4 inches, and adding infield mix. The work and materials will be donated at no cost to the school district by the Glenside Youth Athletic Club with design approved by the Abington School District Facilities Department.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. GYAC has approached the school district, as you heard, for the development of a softball field on the Glenside Weldon property. GYAC has used the fields at Glenside Weldon for a number of years for the sports programs. In an effort to increase the access to children who are interested in learning and playing softball, GYAC is requesting to renovate an existing baseball field for use as softball at no cost to the district. Mr. Berge, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, you did pretty well.
Thank you.
GYAC has been working very well with the district for many years and continues to work with the district. They use that area, that facility, Glenside Weldon, 3 seasons out of the year, spring, summer, and fall. They're very active there in that area.
Questions or comments from the board?
Just wanted to say GYAC is a great organization. I've had a lot of experience with them over the years, and I thank them for being willing to do this. I think it's going to be great for the kids. It's great for the township and the district, and I appreciate them wanting to do this and being willing to do it.
Agreed. My children have definitely benefited from GYAC as well. Mrs. Young?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fraser?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
Aye.
Mrs. Glasser?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Casey?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Again, for agenda item number 13, I apologize for the spelling error. It should be bequest. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation regarding Jenkintown Abington Youth Little League?
Absolutely, Madam President. It is recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the renovation of a baseball field on the McKinley Elementary School property. The renovation includes all baseball field in work, having an infield mix depth of 4 inches in the expandable infield, which is designed to allow use by a wider age range of children. The work and materials will be donated at no cost to the school district by the Jenkintown Abington Little League with design approved by the Abington School District Facilities Department.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. As you heard, the Jenkintown Abington Little League has approached the school district to request the bequest of providing improvements for a baseball field on the McKinley Elementary School property. The organization utilizes the school's fields for its sports program, and it would be at no cost to the district.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Mrs. Young?
I'd
I'm
like to
sorry.
just thank the Jenkintown Abington Little League for doing that as well. I mean, 2 in one meeting. It's phenomenal that these great groups come out and support the township and school district by helping the kids, even that go beyond the kids who are playing with them.
Mhm.
It's just it just shows an amazing citizenry and great partnership with the township and the school district.
Agreed. Any additional questions or comments? Mrs. Young?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fraser?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
Aye.
Mrs. Glasser?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Casey?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye, ayes have it, and motion passes. Mr. Allen, can you please read the recommendation for the confidential student matters?
Yes, Madam President, it is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the confidential student matters as reflected in addendum number 14.1.
Second.
We have a second. Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Keeping in mind the confidentiality of student matters, I can answer any questions you may have regarding student disciplinary matters, procedures on this item this evening.
Questions or comments from the board? Mrs. Young?
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
Aye.
Mrs. Costa?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Stacy?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye. Ayes have it and motion passes. Dr. Fetcher, any additional reports for this evening?
Provide the conference attendance and professional leaves and capital improvement projects for your information.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Okay. At this time, any other business to be appropriately brought up from my fellow board members? We will move forward with agenda item number 17, comments from citizens. Comments from citizens are being conducted both in person and by phone. The phone number to participate in public comment is 267-715-3717 and is displayed on the screen at this time. You'll be able to call in using your mobile or landline phone. If you're within the room, there are mics to the left and to the right of you. Please be sure to state your name and address.
Yes, ma'am. Joe Rooney again. I got a shotgun thing here. First, it's disappointing that Mrs. Mallory, Mrs. Kleiman decided to skip the meeting. All the school directors have the opportunity to do it virtually if they can or decide not to be here, and you ought to attend because these are important meetings. Second one, I'd like to put into a pitch and say if you're going to choose a new principal, I'd really like to see somebody that's a resident of Abington or Rockledge. We've got a lot of senior administrators, and nobody's got any skin in the game in our own community, so I think that would help. Third, as far as the building brief was concerned, on August 29th, there was a couple glaring things. First, for everybody who wasn't there, the district's looking at spending $300 to $400 million borrowing the money and then saddling the community for 27 years with that. They also didn't discuss, we have classrooms at Ardsley School, at Rockledge School, and also in this building right here. So we have the classrooms that we need to fit whatever our needs are in the future. But if you want to build a new building and get somebody else to pay for it, you should at least address Ardsley School, Rockledge, and this building because we can fit people here if need be. As far as the video is concerned, thanks for both of you disagreeing with me. At least you responded to something. Abington Police specifically requested that Abington residents and students, if they had information and videos, that they would supply them to them. And Dr. Fetcher also knows that he cooperated with the police and watched videos of the fight to help identify who was in that fight at 100 Old York Road. So for you citizen journalists that are out there, it's crucially important for keeping our school district honest. The principal's letter was pretty thin gruel as far as saying what actually happened in that riot, all right? And it said nothing about those brutal fights that we saw on video in the bathrooms. And we wouldn't know about the kids who weren't in class either. So you provide a crucial thing to help keep government officials basically answerable to the community. And then the questions that I asked at the last time, I asked how many other fights have there been, wasn't answered. And I also asked the school directors, if you guys could tell me, how does your discipline policy interact with the four things that we knew? And we got no answers. So I'm going to take that as y'all don't know. So thank you all for your time. Have a nice night.
Thank you for your voice. There are mics to the left and to the right. If you would like to get up and make a comment, please be sure to state your name and address. Mr. Sneed, can you confirm that there are no callers on the line?
That is confirmed.
Dr. Fetcher?
The only thing I want to say is I do answer questions, and I do respond to people when emailing me and questions, and I have responded on many occasions. So I want to make it clear that this is not the first time I'm responding. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have closing comments from my fellow board members. Mr. Allen?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Frazier?
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Mr. Kay?
I think if you're going to take the videos and you want to send them to the police department, that's different than posting them on social media. I think if you're going to send it to the school district, that's different than posting it on social media. The police need that help, and that's fine.
Sorry, Ms. Glasser?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Mr. Muhammad?
Some people think fights are entertainment. There's nothing entertaining about young people brutalizing each other in school communities, outside of the school community, anywhere. Recording the fights usually are for the purposes of entertainment, and we just so happen to come across those videos and use them for the purposes that Mr. K just laid out. But there's no world where young people should be recording each other, beating each other up. I would never recommend young people do that. Terrible piece of advice. Good night.
Ms. Fazy?
I want to just echo Mr. Muhammad's comments. This is a conversation I've had with my own children about engaging with information that they see on social media. And it's something that is very, very concerning to see that students are not only engaging in violence, but also recording it and circulating it as forms of entertainment. We do come across this, this information is used in these situations. However, the purpose of taping, circulating fights among children is just, it's detestable and it should not be encouraged.
Dr. Fetcher?
Nothing further at this time. Thank you.
My closing remarks is just with devices in general. We're at a time now where there is a lot of images being circulated, whether it's things that's happening outside the country or inside the country or even inside our own schools. I want to encourage parents and guardians to be mindful if your child has a device to help them navigate through what they're seeing, engaging in conversation, and letting them know what do you do if you see this. And don't take for granted that our children can take in a lot of that and not affect them socially and emotionally. And with that being said, I want to go back to Dr. Fetcher's opening comments, reminding the community of the services that the school district offers in regard to mental health support. So if your child or your family is experiencing issues when it comes to mental health or social emotional needs, please do reach out to your counselors, to your social workers and things of that nature, because those resources are here for you to use. Everyone have a good night. Thank you so much for your attendance. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.